the side of him. He cannot see anything right in front of him. More importantly, anything right behind him. So if I jump with that head straight forward, he's not going to see me. He's not going to meet me halfway with that kiss. Now it's also important, as I said, knees in his armpits, hands on his neck. It is important that I do not overshoot that target area. But I like where that head's at right now. I'm gonna hopefully, no, I don't like where that head's at right now. Try that again. Stay. And just like that, knees in his armpits, hands on his neck, and from here, it's yeehaw. Thank you. Now you also might have noticed, I jumped on, started to fight. I'm gonna cover up his eyes. Doing this, it actually seems to relax him. We're not entirely sure why it works, but there are several theories. My personal favorite theory is you cover up those eyes, he can't see anything, he thinks he's dead. Now, I do not absolutely believe this. We do need to remember, however, that his brain is the size of a walnut. Now, that's twice as big as mine is. It's how I got this job. Any smaller at all, they said I'd be management. So before we actually go any further, that's my last show, so no. Before we go any further with the actual hands-on techniques, I'd like to point out some of the characteristics that really make these guys such a cool, unique animal. And if you want to take a quick peek, you might notice that when his mouth is open, you can't see down their throat. And the reason for that is actually it's their tongue. Their tongue's gonna seal off at the back of his throat. It's gonna allow him to open his mouth underwater without taking any into his gut. So it's incredibly rare to see down his throat. There's only a handful of times that this is going to happen. When he's yawning, or when you're being eaten alive. Now also on this discussion of valves, all right? His nostrils are on top of his mouth here and here. His ears are these two flaps here and here. They're also going to seal off underwater, making him completely airtight for this aquatic life. They're like little submarines. In fact, they can lay with just those eyes above the surface. That's going to make for a great hunting, a great stalking adaptation. But it's not so good in theory for the actual confrontation. You know, they're big, out of the way. We could see some injuries, except we're not going to because they have an adaptation for that as well. He can retract his eyes all the way back into his skull. They're going to be protected by this heavy bony ridge. Nothing's going to get hurt while they're like that. Now also with those eyes you might see, when he opens it back up, they look like they're rolling backwards. That's actually a secondary eyelid. It's very, very thin. It is known as the nictitating membrane. It's basically a built-in pair of diving goggles. It is going to allow him to see better while underwater. Now also these guys, you might look at them, short stubby legs, big heavy head, belly, tail. You know, one look might suggest that they're not meant to run, but at short distances, this alligator could outrun any one of us. And in the water, it's not going to be any sort of a contest. They have front and back webbed feet, as well as this large heavy tail that's gonna work just like a motor. We're gonna get back to these jaws because there is an incredible amount of closing force there. In comparison, relatively no opening force, and I'll show you what I mean by that, all right? It's not that hard for me to grab those jaws and simply shut it just like that. You know, I'm not having to use a whole lot of force. That's not the issue. The issue lies in the fact that because they're in the water a lot of the times, you know, they may be
He's done with you.
All right, we're gonna move just a little bit. So like I was saying, there's not an issue for me just to go down and grab those jaws. The issue is in the fact that they live in the water. They're going to be wet. They're going to have some of that algae built up. So if I go to grab his jaws and I don't have a good grip, you know, he could shake his head back and forth and lose my placement, have my hands in a spot that he can then get a hold of. A lot of laughter right now. Really close those jaws. Oh man. Yep.
Like everybody got to see what they wanted to see. They feed me.
So, like I said, we'll finish up that here.
Oh, he's right behind him.
Sit.
Give it up, man. It's not worth it.
Come on. Hang up. Did you guys hear that hissing noise?
Yeah,
It means I love you. Alright.
He's hissing at me.
There we go. So we're gonna speed this up. We'll grab our alligator here. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and close his jaws. When we do this, it has to be a nice, strong grip. That's exactly what we're gonna do. Hands on his neck. Force his jawline shut. Slide my hands to the top and then rock back. Now this right here, it's not gonna hurt him at all. All it does is it limits his movement even further. While sitting like this, he cannot try the death roll, and that's to my benefit for a couple of reasons. First, he goes to roll while I'm on his back. He could start, end on his side, from there have a clear shot, my belly, my chest, my face. Really, that's not gonna feel too good. Second, he starts that roll. I'm gonna get my legs tangled up with his legs, his big heavy tail here. We're gonna go rolling. The next thing I know is I'm on the turf. He's on my back, and this show is about him properly shutting my mouth. He has a lot more help than I do. But on a serious note, this demonstration right here is the exact same way that we would do it to get in here to check their health. From this point, another trainer is going to come around front, observe whatever we may need to. If we need to transport him, they'll tape his jaws shut. We can move him anywhere we need to after that point. Now, the most important part about alligator wrestling, you guys have seen this a couple of times already, is how to jump off without getting bit. You're going to cover up his eyes, press his head into the ground, and then you simply look back, making sure nobody is there. So when I do this, if I go straight back, I should be okay. Eyes closed, head into the ground, and quickly jump off just like that. So that is the proper way to go about wrestling an alligator.